Yeah, just to practice, let us say you want to deploy a real-time website. All the time we used to deploy index.html, right?
Yeah.
So to get a feel of how does the actual deployment happens, I have just shown you that the
Okay.
Blue Skies website, right? Let me
Okay.
take.
Yeah, that part I understand. I think maybe I'm wrong. I think you mentioned that there's similar thing in Amazon, like I don't know. Maybe I'm mistaken. That you said there was something similar thing in Amazon to deploy web servers.
No,
No. All right. Then must
I
be
mean, at
then.
least I'm not aware. So this just a kind of uh, to deploy a real-time website using
Mm-hmm.
kind of Ansible or any other configuration management tool. We can use this template. So this just
Okay.
like it's like same like index.html. Only thing is it has a lot of other files,
Okay.
image files, a lot of configuration files that will simply copy it to var www.html and we get a the actual website kind of thing.
Okay. Even there's, let's say, if there's a small database, are we going to copy the database also in the same folder, var.ww, HTML?
No. So
Okay.
it depends again on the requirement. What kind of database is it? And we need to establish the communication between the instance and the database, right?
Okay. 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 I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
And if we're going to do that, we're going to install the database on our on the system, right? Some and like install it and then make a connection to the site, right?
No, when we are talking about AWS, we create another DB instance. So this can be RDS or MongoDB or PostgreSQL or Aurora. So there is EC2 instance. There can be multiple EC2 instances where the application is running, and there is a database, and they all are inside one VPC, and we need to establish the communication. We need to open the required ports for the authentication. Then
Okay.
the application is talking to there is application which is running on the EC2 instance. It has to write some data into database. Maybe it will extract some data from database and then it
Okay.
will work that way. Something like let us say there is a request coming in from a client or a user, the web traffic, and that it has to store something on the database. Through EC2 instance, it accesses the database, and if it wants to extract something, it extracts and shows it to the user. Something like that it works.
Okay. So you're saying that database is a different server and our website is
Right.
different server probably. But we
Yes.
can do the same thing on the same server. Let's say we have Red Hat instance EC2. We can install the database on the same instance, right?
Yes, we can do that, but if for a huge amount of data, this
Yeah.
instance won't be sufficient. So what we do is
Oh,
have
okay.
a server
Okay.
separately,
Okay.
the instance separately.
And
Then,
we may also need like more robust storage also for database,
right,
right?
right. But what do we install here is something like SQL Plus or Workbench or MySQL on this instance to just to make sure that connectivity is fine between the EC2 instance and database. So from here, we try to connect to the database. So database will have its own IP address and the DNS name, and it has its own username and the password. These are the default things. And then we can actually, when we execute something, we are actually executing on the database. So here we give the database endpoint. Okay, something like this.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Okay. I
Then
got you.
you go here and something like show databases and then use database XYZ. We type like this, right? And then
Okay.
there are some tables, queries, and all you can write here. And
Okay.
then, so it goes that way. So that way we configure,
Okay. 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 I got you.
right? Yeah. So yeah, as you said, we can configure in an install on the server as well if the database is not so big and the data which we write is not so big. But in general, we do like this. We have multiple EC2 instances, multiple applications, multiple
Yeah.
microservices running on the different instances, and they talk to database, they extract the data, they process the data, and So incoming web traffic will be handled that way.
Okay. Let's say that that site is available, like we have a site installed on the EC2 and database, and we give the site the public IP for the instance, right? So it is resolving to the public IP. So it means that site is available only for you publicly, but not publicly like for everyone, right?
So there is again option, right? So while creating the security group, while allowing the port HTTP, you want to allow from my machine, something like my IP, so it will be available to me only. And
Oh,
there is a
I mean
custom range.
publicly, yeah, I mean it's not available for the like www, like anybody type in it, it's not available. It's not resolving public IP. It's public IP, like like if we keep this open for everyone, right? Is it going to be available for public?
Yes, it is available because the other day I was showing one web server configuration and I have given the link, right? Somebody else was able to access. So that is open to public. Anybody can access. If we have the website set up somewhere or so generally what happens is this database will be private.
Yeah.
One EC2 instance will be public, or to be more specific, it will be something like this. Load balancer will be a public IP. Okay, then there will be EC2 instances. They can be private. So this is internet facing.
Okay. Well, what I'm trying to understand that we don't have the domain. Let's say we haven't bought the domain name. Let's say we have xyzabc.com, right? And
Right.
And that is resolving to the public IP on our EC2 instance, right?
Okay. Yeah, so we need to map it. Yeah, we need to use something called DNS Route 53 service to map the website which we bought to the IP address.
Okay. I got you. Okay.
Okay, yeah, fine. So let us start with load balancers and auto scaling. So using this feature, we can scale up or scale out based on the CPU utilization or the memory utilization. Right, so something like, let us say there is a website that is serving the incoming web traffic. Right, and today let us say there are 100 customers downloading something from the website, and tomorrow it just increased to 1,000 and 10,000, right? So the number of servers which handle the data have to be increased to process the incoming request, right? Or after some time again it reduced to 1,000 and again 100, right? So based on this, we need to configure in such a way that if the web traffic is, if the CPU utilization of the server is increasing, it has to scale up automatically, right? So I start with 2 instances. Application is running on the 2 instances and it is serving the web traffic. And if the traffic increases, automatically the CPU utilization will go down on the server. The memory utilization will go up on the server, right? So now it has to add the instances automatically, right? So let us say 1 at a time or 2 at a time, that we can configure. And once we add this, it will scale up or scale out. Okay. Then we can also define something like minimum number of instances to start with. And we can also specify maximum number of instances. So let us say I just specified minimum as 2 and maximum as 10. So these servers based on the load will grow up to 10 instances and will handle the load, right? And if the load decreases, So automatically some of the instances will be destroyed, right? So we can set minimum, maximum, and we can also set a kind of alarm. So that alarm is actually will go to the instances and check the load based on the CPU usage and based on the memory usage, right? Okay, so here something like I defined minimum is 2, maximum is 10, but how does it knows that what kind of instances it has to spin up? Right? So I have an application running on one of the instances. Let us say on 2 instances. Now it has to spin another instance. Right? So to spin up another instance, AWS has to decide on what kind of operating system it has to use, or what kind of additional software it has to use, right? Or what are the other configurations it has to make while the machine comes up, while the machine boots up, right? So all these things we define in something called launch configuration. So these are predefined so that in case if it has to grow, it has to scale out, it will automatically does based on this configuration. So based on the launch configuration, it will spin up the new instances, right? So here we define, before defining the auto scaling policy, we define the launch configuration. So this launch configuration will have details like what kind of AMI we need to use, what are the other configurations changes we need to make, that kind of information it will have, right? So that first let us define a launch configuration, and then we define the auto scaling group, right?
So this part of Amazon, is it called VPC or is it load balancing or whatever?
Load balancer. This is load balancer auto scaling. We are not yet covered VPC or other things, right?
Okay.
Okay, so let us go here. So there is something called auto scaling in EC2, and there is something called auto scaling groups. So here I can define a group, create auto scaling group. So step 1 is to create a launch configuration. So we define a template. Okay, so create a launch configuration and select the instance which you want to spin up. So let us say I'll select Ubuntu 64-bit T2 micro. Launch config 1, 2, 3. So here we can define, I think this we have already seen, right? So let us say I want to do some automatic provisioning, in the sense even before the instance comes up, I want to install some packages and make the machine up and running, right? So what are the things I need to perform for, let us say, setting up web server on Ubuntu?
HTTPD, we have to install the yum install HTTPD.
This is Ubuntu.
Oh, apt-get install.
Okay, to get installed.
HTTP, yeah. I think you have to put Y also, without.
Okay. Okay.
Install Y HTTP. Start the service HTTP start, yes. And what else?
configure the index.html.
Okay. So let us say I just say hi, and then I redirect it to
etc.
HTML index.html.
Yes.
Will this work?
Looks like it should work.
I think you need to open port security.
This will not
Oh
work.
yeah. Yeah. I think we already have opened the port on that server.
For installing anything, the first thing is we need to do apt-get update. That is one point. And second thing is it's not HTTP, it's Apache 2. And this is HTTP start, and this is fine. This will work, right?
Okay. Okay.
So if it is yum, we directly say yum install. If it is apt-get, we need to do apt-get update first, then install all these things, right? Yeah, this is fine. It's HTTP on Ubuntu, HTTPD on RHEL or CentOS or Fedora.
Okay.
It's SSH on Ubuntu, SSHD on CentOS, Fedora, or RHEL derivatives, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll copy this. Before
So
that, we can also add one thing. What is it?
This thing is we are putting that it's going to be happen after the install of the instance, right?
Yes, yes. After, in the sense, when the machine comes up, it does this.
Okay.
So bin bash, right? So I'll just add storage 8 GB. Security groups will configure. By default, will allow HTTP. Okay, so HTTP. Review, create launch configuration. I'll use the existing key. Okay, so launch configuration is created. Next step is to create the auto scaling group. So I'll say auto scaling 1, 2, 3. Start with one or two instances. We can specify this is the minimum number of instances, right? This and all I'll keep default. We'll come to this load balancer. Okay, health check period. So by default, it checks for the health check grace period every 300 seconds. Okay.
And health check means it's doing the ping probably, right?
Yeah, that is there in the this thing next. So it will check health check. So health check is like based on the application. Let us see next. I'll select some subnet. I think we are using 1C, right? Okay, 1C. Okay, keep this group at the initial size. Or we'll use scaling policies to adjust the capacity of this group. Okay, so this is the minimum, this is the maximum. How do you want to scale from 1 to, let us say, 4? I want to create 4 instances. 4 is the maximum size of the group, right? So we are creating a auto scaling group that will automatically scale out in case of high CPU utilization, right? So group size, name of the group, let us say scale out policy. Average CPU utilization, target value. Okay, so this I have selected these policies. So increase the group size. When do you want to increase the group size? So that means scale out policy. This is scale out policy, right? And here no alarm selected. I just want to add a new alarm. So here there is something called whenever average of CPU utilization of, let us say, 2 servers is minimum, is goes greater than this percentage, spin up a new instance. If CPU utilization on the servers goes above some percentage, right here, we are defining scale out policy. So this is to grow the number of instances, right? So if CPU utilization, so this is the average CPU utilization between the instances. If it is 1 instance, it will check 1 instance. If it is 2 or 3 instances, it will check average CPU utilization across the instances. And if CPU utilization goes beyond 80%, spin up. Spin up means start, let us say, new instances. So this is my scale out policy, right? So here what I'm creating is alarm. What is that alarm? Alarm is nothing but mentioning, saying that if CPU is greater than 80%, do this.
So
Right.
what is the latency?
Yeah, I'll come to that. Now scale in policy. Let us say if CPU utilization is, let us say, less than 80%, destroy some of the instances. Right, so this is the alarm I create. Right, one is scale out, the other is scale in. Scale out is to increase, scale in is to decrease the number of instances, right? Okay, so but for demonstration purpose, we cannot get CPU of 80% usage, right? So just to see whether it is really scaling out or not, what I'll do is I'll put very low CPU, something like if CPU utilization is greater than 0.06 or something, spin up the new instance, so that we'll know like if the instance is really spinning up once we log in, right? So we cannot really apply the load on the server. So just for demo purpose, so what I do is I'll put something like scale out policy as if CPU is greater, utilization is greater than, let us say, 0.05%, then spin up new instances. Because we don't have application here, so just to see if really it spins up the servers, so what we do is we just make alarm as if CPU is greater than this thing, spin up the new instance, right? So if CPU utilization is greater than 0.05, yes.
Yeah, we started with 1 instance, right? So
Yes.
if we said 0.05%, it means 0.05% on just 1 instance.
Yeah, 1
And
instance.
or let's say 10%. If we have 2 instances, and if we say if the CPU utilization is more than 10%, does it mean 10% on each of the instance, or a cumulative number, or what is it?
It's average, average of both.
Average of both. Let's say one is running on 5%, other one is running on 15%. The total is 20%, right? So its average is 10% on both.
Right, right. Yes, it's average.
If average is 10%, it's going to spin up the new VM, new instance, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a cumulative number, average number for both instances.
Right.
Okay.
So here we can also specify the number of consecutive periods. Let us say at one instance of time, 1 point of time, the load simply increases. It spikes up for 5 minutes, and again after that it's normal. I don't want to do that. I want to avoid this. Maybe I want to check if the load is continuously high for, let us say, 5 consecutive periods of time. Then I can specify here it's 5. So it checks 5 times, right? So 5 times it consecutively, if the load is up, then only it is going to spin up the instances. So it's like something like checking whether load is really up, or it's just like once in a time it is going up.
Yeah, I think that's a very good thing. One more thing, Santosh. Sometimes, or I would say many times, or sometimes, the CPU utilization was caused because of the infrastructure, because of the hypervisor, not because of the application. Let's say CPU utilization is high because the underneath hypervisor resources are in contention. Is there a way to check that? Looks like I don't see any option to monitor from what is happening at hypervisor layer. You know what I mean?
Hypervisor level, yes. So if there is any problem or there is any bug in the hypervisor, it may cause that, right? So I think
Yeah, even if it's not a bug, sometimes you over provision the hypervisor, right? So you have more VMs sitting on the same hypervisor. I know Amazon give you some visibility to look at the hypervisor layer to monitor from infrastructure perspective. So let's say if the CPU is high, it's generic that it's causing by the application. But in hypervisor world, it's not always the case. In many times you go and see what is happening at the hypervisor layer. If is there resource contention happening? See, there are many other like CPU ready cycles, CPU memory ballooning happening at the hypervisor layer. So I don't know if we can do it here, but
I mean, as far as I know, hypervisor level, I don't know if there is any way to monitor, because this all kind of abstraction which AWS takes care of it. Maybe the kind of, you said, spinning up more instances on the same machine may cause this issue, but I think they have a proper automation in place, end-to-end automation takes care of all these things. So kind of KVM kernel-based virtual machine or some other hypervisor.
I think I think I'm going to take a look, because I had a discussion with Amazon guy, and he was telling that Amazon allows you to monitor at hypervisor level, where Azure, the Microsoft, they won't allow you to monitor that. But I'll take a look. Yeah, okay. You continue, please.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Okay, so I'll just create alarm. So this is scale out policy, add one instance when CPU utilization is greater than 0.05. Okay.
Also, it like sounds like alarm is just an alarm. It's not like doing anything. Is it just an alarm, or is basically deploying the instances?
It's just alarm, but based on the alarm's output, the Amazon actually will scale out, right? So it will create. So here we can define like how many instances you want to add, 1 at a time, 2 at a time, 3 at a time.
Okay, so we're creating alarm for the basically for the Amazon to spin up something.
Yeah, so Amazon will get the output from this alarm. So this alarm is something like a if loop, right? If this is greater than, let me know what is the return code, something like that they have, and based on that logic, we spin up the instances. So also it's like let us say, so we also want this logic to be false proof, right? So it shouldn't immediately spin up a lot of instances, right? So we have something like instances need 300 seconds to warm up after each step, so that it will not immediately spin up instances in every second. So it will wait for some time. So the default is 300 seconds, so that it waits to spin up the another instance, right? So this is decrease the group size. So I'll say scale in policy, scale in policy. So here also we'll add a new alarm. So if average of CPU utilization is, let us say, less than or equal to 0.05, right, for at least one consecutive period of 5 minutes, remove the instances, right? So this is something like scale-in policy. So scale-in means reduce policy if CPU utilization is less than 0.05, right? So destroy, remove the instances from the auto scaling group, right? Okay, so this 0.05% is just for demo purpose. Maybe it will be 80% or somewhere in practical. And so this 0.05% will be achieved just if we log into the machine, the CPU utilization goes little high. So because of that, it may spin up the new instances, right? So that we'll see. So remove one instance.
It won't give you the for memory utilization like option 2 if the memory utilization is over 90% or whatever. CPU is just one thing, right?
Yeah,
how about
we also have that.
Okay.
Okay, first we'll see this notifications. Anyway, we're going to check here only optional tags and create the auto scaling group. So there is a auto scaling group created, and there is also launch configuration created. Right, so we have defined launch configuration as Ubuntu, and we also defined it as what is it? Ubuntu AMI with Apache configuration. So whenever the machine spins up, it will actually create the Apache, the Ubuntu machine, and it will add Apache server, and it will also overwrite the index.html. It will create a new file, index.html. In that, it will add something so that we'll see what is happening on the web browser, right? So this auto scaling group, we need to attach it to a load balancer, right? So load balancer talks to auto scaling group. Okay, so I think I have given the instructions as well in the document.
I don't think so. Do we have AWS document? I don't know if we sent us already.
I think I didn't send it.
Okay. For the destroy part, did we mention that destroy one instance or two instance or
one instance? I mentioned as one instance.
So you can mention actually one or two, whatever, right?
Yes, we can mention. Yeah, based on that, it will remove the instance. Okay, so we defined the auto scaling policy. We have defined the launch configuration. Let us go to load balancer. So load balancer is a software. So basically for balancing the load across the instances. Right, so this is something like a traffic manager who based on the algorithm kind of round robin redirects the traffic to instances. Okay, so this we can see by creating two instances. So what we'll do is we'll create two EC2 instances. Okay, then in one of the server, so let us say server 1 in where www.html index.html, I'll just write it as server 1, right? In server 2, I'll write where www.html index.html, I'll write as server 2, right? So this will clearly show us where is the request routed, to server 1 or to server 2, and how is it routing the request when the load balancer is ready, right? So we set up the load balancer, we add the instances to it, then we configure the security groups to allow HTTP, and then it will, when we hit the load balancer, the first web traffic, the first request, where is it going? First request is served by server 1 or server 2?
Server 1.
Or second request, so we'll see by hitting the load balancer URL. So just to check how is the traffic distributed between the two instances, right? So again, in load balancers we have,
Is like Kubernetes is doing the same thing in the
yes,
OpenStack?
Kubernetes is a cluster of containers, whereas this is like a software to balance the load between the instances.
Okay. It also depends what policy you're applying at load balance. Are you doing a round robin or you're doing what, right?
Yeah.
So if it's,
So by default, it's a round robin.
okay.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, the same thing. Even Docker Swarm or Mesos or DSOS or all these things are container of clusters, right? So in load balancer, we have something called classic load balancer, and we have something called application load balancer, and we have something called network load balancer. Right. So classic load balancer is something like the routing happens, the distribution of the load or the routing of the request, incoming web traffic happens at the IP layer. Okay. So this is like, if you see the OSI layers, we have something like physical layer, data link layer, and all those layers, right? The network layer, IP layer, application layer, and all that stuff, right? So here the request happens at the IP layer. So the incoming web traffic will be redirected based on the IP address of the machine, right? So based on the algorithm, round robin algorithm, so first request will be served by the first server, second request will be served by the second server. So that is basically the classic load balancer. So in case of application load balancer, the routing happens at the application level. So this is also called context-based routing. So you would have seen something like, let us say, IBM.com. When you hit IBM.com, it goes to one URL. When you hit IBM.com/HR or IBM.com/accounts, let us say, just for example, or IBM.com careers. Right. So might be these web servers are running on different servers, but the load balancer knows that if it is application load balancer, it knows that based on the request, it has to redirect to a particular server. If it is HR, redirect to one server. If it is accounts, redirect to other server. If it is carriers, redirect to other server. Something like that. The context-based routing happens at the application layer, right? And this network load balancer is something which introduced recently, and this is same like classic load balancer, but a kind of advanced version of classic load balancer. And this, in a way, this is much better compared to classic load balancer because this can handle millions of incoming web traffic effectively. Okay, so this is introduced before a couple of weeks, I think. So I'm yet to explore this, but classic and application load balancer are there from a long time, and we'll see one of the load balancer, how to configure and how to attach auto scaling group to the load balancer, right? So this,
So all those load balancers are available at Amazon, right?
Yes, they are available.
Okay. I think you're going to pay extra for the load balancing if you want to enable, right?
Again, based on the usage. So there will be some number of hours of usage. If you exceed that, you have to pay. Okay. So load balancers, create a load balancer. Application load balancer, network load balancer, classic load balancer. So first we'll try with classic load balancer.
Is it though the scaling policy that we have created
Mhm.
is actually doing the load balancing already, right? So,
Uh,
you know
no,
what I
it
mean?
does not. It does not do load balancing. It is just scale out or scale in.
Yeah, I mean, when the more load is required, is spin up the new VMs. When less load is required, it's destroy the VMs, right? So in some context, it's doing a load balancing at its own.
No. So what happens is this load balancer will attach to a auto scaling policy, auto scaling group, right? So this has IP address. This has a DNS name. This is public facing, right? So based on the load, this will distribute the traffic to instances. So this load balancer will have instances, right? And auto scaling is when so here this will actually distribute the traffic. Auto scaling will not. It will only based on the alarms output whether to scale up or scale in is decided by auto scaling. But actually, who is distributing the traffic between the instances? It's load balancer, right?
Okay, okay. So load balancer will distribute the traffic, and based on the traffic, the scaling will happen at the back end, right?
Right. So based on the traffic, if it is increasing in CPU, then it will scale up.
Okay, okay, okay. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll create. I'll say load balancer 1, 2, 3. Okay. So this is by default it's internet facing. If you don't want it to be internet facing, if you want it to be internal to the organization, you can click this. Okay. And load balancer protocol HTTP, which is listening on port 80 by default, and this is the instance protocol. So when a request incoming web traffic hits load balancer on port HTTP, it will redirect that to HTTP running on the instance. So port forwarding. So 80 is mapped to 80 on the instance. 80 on the load balancer is mapped to 80 port on the instance, right?
Oh, so basically you can also do HTTP to HTTPS for the SSL, right?
Yeah, we can do that.
Or just decrypt SSL offloading. Okay.
So configure security groups. We did not do HTTPS. That's why it is giving this warning. If you want to improve security, you need to use some certificates. Okay. So here there are health checks. So this is for the application. Make sure that application is up and running on the port 80. So this will check if that application is up and running, right? And also there is something like when do you want to define the application as down, or when do you want to define something like how many times you want to poll, how many times you want to send a request, and how much time you want to wait before declaring that application as down, right? So response timeout is the time it will wait for 5 seconds till it gets the acknowledgement from the application, right? And this interval is time interval between the successive basically the load balancer will send the acknowledgement or request to the application. It will wait for the 5 seconds before sending, before getting the response. So before declaring it as down, it waits for the 5 seconds. And the next request will be after 30 seconds. This we can configure. Let us say I want this to be 10 seconds. So first request it will send. It will wait for 5 seconds for the acknowledgement to receive. If it doesn't receive that acknowledgement, the next request it will send after 10 seconds. Okay, and this is unhealthy threshold. Number of consecutive health failures before declaring EC2 instance healthy. So we do the health check 2 times, and if it is not responding, we declare that as the application as down, right? And this healthy threshold, this is if the instance is down, let us say out of service. So this will number of consecutive health check successes before declaring instance healthy, right? So 10 consecutive iterations it will check. If all are success, then it will declare the application as up, right? So we are monitoring HTTP on port 80. The ping path is index.html. Something like it will ping and check whether the application is up. It will check whether the application, this is basically kind of monitoring to make sure that application is up and running.
So for example, let's say if you don't get the response in, let's say, in 10 seconds, the load balancer will treat that instance as dead and won't move the traffic there.
Yes, exactly. So if it doesn't respond, the application is not responding on a particular instance. Let us say for 2 consecutive iterations, then it will declare that instance as down, and it may try to spin up another instance because the first instance is down, right? So it will declare it as a out of service instance. There are 2 things: in service and out of service.
Okay, but this health check is not spinning up the new instance, right? It's just checking the instance is live or not. If it's not live, it won't route the traffic to that instance.
Yeah, see, obviously, if the number of instances we specify, minimum is 2. Let us say one of the instance is declared as out of service, right? So minimum instances should be 2. So there is only 1 instance. So it will automatically spin up another instance.
Or from scaling, so that action will be taken by the scaling functionality, right? Okay, not the load balancing, right?
Right.
Okay, got you. Yeah.
Okay. So next we need to add the EC2 instances. I think we have some instances running. Let me see what are the instances. Okay, I have 3 running instances.
And one is initializing right now even.
Yeah, so we'll add 2 instances. Create. So there will be a load balancer that will be created, and it will show up the instances here. So by default it is out of service, so it will wait for a few seconds before it basically monitors the application. If the application is up and running, and if it is listening on the port 80, and if it is getting the acknowledgement, this will change to in service. Okay.
So Santosh, we attached the instance to load balancer. I thought we're gonna attach the scaling policy to load balancer. No?
Yes, we'll do that. Let me see.
Because in the scaling policies we have just 1 instance, right? Or 2 instances.
2 instances we have. Where is my existing scaling?
Here's the launch configuration. This is the one. Auto scaling.
So this has spinned up 3 instances, and let me see. This has to.
I thought instead of adding instances, we just add the auto scaling, and that is already attached to this instances.
There is an option to attach it. Let me see.
Edit.
Okay, I think it will be. Okay, let me try to create one. Okay, here we attach the load balancer to auto scaling group. So this will receive the traffic from the load balancer. So let us say I'll attach here load balancer 1 to 3. So while creating the auto scaling group itself, we have an option to attach this auto scaling group to load balancer. So all the incoming traffic from this load balancer will be redirected to these instances. Use scaling policies. I was just checking if there is any option to edit the existing auto scaling policy and attach. Let me see that. EC2 auto scaling groups edit. Scale out, scaling, and no, not this. There is the option to attach auto scaling group to ELB. Scaling policies, instances. Auto scaling EC2.
I think there was
see
option to
here.
add policy.
Load
Yeah.
balancer 1, 2, 3. Okay. So I'll just save this. So let me go to load balancer and see if I can hit it. So this is the DNS name which we can use to hit the load balancer. So there are two instances which are running, and that out of service is turned to in service because it has received the response from the port IT running on the protocol HTTP. So let us see if I can hit it. So this is a load balancer, and let me see the EC2 instances. The auto scaling group is spinning up the instances because of the load, I think, because we have given 0.05%. Okay, HTTP, the load. Okay, this is also fine. Let me see security groups. Okay, so we log into one of the instances and see what is the issue. Load balancer is not able to divert the traffic to instances. So this is Ubuntu machine, right? So I'll select Ubuntu. Service HTTP status. Okay, service is not started. Service Apache status, Apache 2 status. Okay, it's running. Okay, so the instance is pinned up properly. Let me see if I am able to hit this. Okay, I think there's some problem with the configuration. This IP is not responding. Okay, I think we can see this tomorrow by configuring once again. Okay, we'll stop here. Thank you. Bye bye.